Hello, test, test. Hello, hello, hello. Alright, I think we're good. So, hi everybody, it's me, Shortcut Cafe, or Matt, or whatever you want to call me these days. So, it's been a while since I've done a video like this. I think last time I was making an update on how I was doing or talking shit about a river. So, one of those two. Sorry if I sound a bit sick. It's just because it's getting a little colder outside, and I still want to take walks because they're good and healthy for me. But degrees are getting closer to zero, and you gotta get a little sick from that. But that's okay. Today I want to make a little. Since I was here, I was like, hey, I'm gonna make a little video where I talk about stuff. And today I wanted to talk about AI specifically. So. Here's the thing. I've been seeing more and more stuff about AI, and it's hard to explain, but it's like, it pisses me off. I think, by all means, AI is it's this disgusting thing. Oh, but the car just passed by. I'm not that deep into the forest. Usually I go really much further next to the river, but since it's getting colder and all that stuff, and a lot of trees are dying, it's not as... Not trees are dying, but since it's getting colder, I don't want to go down there because it's a little more dangerous, more slippery, could hurt myself. So I'm a little less further than usual. Usually I go by the river itself, but not this time. You can actually hear the river on the side. I don't think in the video you can hear it, but you can hear the river itself. So yeah, something about AI just sort of pisses me off. And there's a lot of it. I think a good place to start... I'm just going to be rambling here, because I think these videos are made for rambling. It's like those Minecraft... I think Tommy and Chad did one of those like that, where it's like... Chad does the weekly slap, where he just plays some Call of Duty and just talks, shoots the shit. Same thing here. Anyways, I'm just going to be rambling. I think a good place to start would be the most recent AI thing I've seen. The Minecraft thing. People... this one company did, where it's like... Minecraft made an AI... And it's just so awful. I don't know how to describe it. It's like, the problem with this is that essentially this company took a lot of data, or a lot of Minecraft videos, and compiled it all into this game, which, to their credit, is impressive to do that. As a programmer, I agree, this is a really impressive thing. But otherwise, it's just kind of this really, really awkward thing. The thing barely works, and since it's based on the last frame, it just guesses the next frame based on the last frame. The problem here is that you will look up or down, and the thing will just forget where it was. And it's just really lame, and I don't understand why companies are just thinking this is the future. I don't understand why they're thinking this is where we want to go. Hell, it's just so confusing to me, because usually they always want the short-term benefit of stuff. But somehow AI is the one thing where they're like, oh, no, we're playing the long game with this one. And, to their credit, eventually AI is going to get good enough to, play a game. Not well, and let me tell you, it's not going to be optimized as well. It's just going to be really poorly optimized, and it's going to be awful. And at that point, you're not even going to own games anymore. We're already seeing that, where, legally you don't own games, but, when you download a game on Steam, you own it. Most games don't really put DRM, or most indie games don't put DRM. And, it's not that much of a problem. If you download your game, there's usually a way to get rid of the DRM. But when it gets to AI, if we start making games in AI and companies just give you a key to be able to play games through AI, that's when it's going to get even more problematic. And I don't understand why people are okay with this. I don't understand why we're not fighting back against this, or not fighting back as much. I mean, I'm talking about games because that's the industry I'm in, but, it gets even worse in other places. And you want to know the worst thing? You want to know what I hate most about AI? It's how, because of its existence, I've seen people just give up on their dreams and hobbies. I've seen artists just go, I don't want to draw anymore because AI exists, and I know that it'll be better than me. Which, it's so disappointing. And I understand their worries too, right? It's why try to make art when you have this machine that just makes really good art with just a word? I say really good art with like quotation marks. Again, AI kind of looks like shit at the moment, and I don't care what people say when they say, "Oh no, it's just gonna get better." Like right now, it kind of just looks like dog shit. It is getting better, but it's not human. You can tell it's made by an AI. There's always something when it comes to AI art that you can tell. Oh, that's not human. That's clearly AI art. It doesn't have that human soul. And, that human soul comes from those mistakes you make from art. AI art isn't able to make mistakes. Or when it is able to make mistakes, it makes them, but not human. Like, no human is going to make a mistake where they draw, like, 20 fingers by accident. When you see AI mistakes, it'll be, like, very blurry in some places because they couldn't guess what it was going to be. Human mistakes are thinking something is right, but it is not. So you do it anyways. And you just don't get to see that in AI art, and that's the one thing that I think AI art just is never going to be able to do, or if it is going to be able to do it, it's going to do it for a specific artist, not all. So I don't think AI art will ever fully be able to replace art. And anyways, it's not going to be able to replace all art, because you can see something right now where AI art is just copying like specific things. It's copying a specific art style, and it's usually always the anime one. Like, the trademark anime and quotation mark art style. That's the main thing it's doing at the moment. I hope eventually we'll get like laws put in place for AI to not be copyrightable, because as soon as that's done, damn well companies are just gonna back off. But at the moment, there's no laws because laws take so long to make. And, that's normal, because if we made a law every time something new happened, well, that shit would suck. We're in the growing times, but, yeah. We're just gonna have to, like, sit around and see how it goes. I think a specific example of AI art usage that has just really made me sad over the past few years has been Corridor Digital. Now, the thing about Corridor Digital is that if you grew up with YouTube, they were probably like the biggest VFX channel. They were, you can't even put it into words. It was so awesome. They would just take concept that only exists in your mind, and they would put it into a video, and it was so awesome. And sometimes it was sloppy, but it was okay. It was so good. And like, even the newer stuff where they take really funny concept and make it into a whole video. That whole series where they just reload a lot was just so fun. It was just so stupid and fun. But here's the thing. They just started using AI out of nowhere, and they acted like dicks about it. And it's just, there's so many things wrong with that video. I mean, first off, they start the video off like, okay, I'm not talking about the actual video. The video kind of looks like dog shit. But I'm talking about like the behind the scenes video, which they always do one, and I think those were really interesting. They're still super interesting, where they just go through their process and explain their timeline and how they did it, and it's a really fun experience to sit along with. But yeah, and their video about that AI thing they made, I think it was called Rock Paper Scissors Anime, which again, yeah. Usually they did this. They have a series. Corridor Digital had this series where they turn into really stupid concepts into anime-like shots, which I love. They did like a fidget spinner anime thing, and it was really fun. They did a basketball one, baseball. Sorry, but yeah, they did a bunch of those, and their newest one was going to be Rock Paper Scissors, but they decided to animate this one in AI, which was just kind of a shame. But yeah, if you look at the video behind the scenes, they start the video off by explaining why they're doing this, and their answer is so fucking stupid. Essentially, they're arguing that they're doing this for the little guys, the people who can't hire animators, which is like, go fuck yourself. I think this is like the best way I can put it. Go fuck yourself. What they did in that video is take a bunch of frames of this really old anime, compile into an AI, and then make their own video about it. And it was disgusting to see. It was like grave robbing. It was like watching someone just grave rob in front of you, and then say that, it's for the greater good. It's for the greater good. Well, the worst part is, it's not the little guys that are going to benefit from this. It's for them. It's the big guys. It's not us. It's not the artists. It's not the people who care. It's the people who don't. And, like, this entire video, they keep arguing that, like, eventually it's going to get good. Eventually, like, the little guy is going to stand up and use AI as a tool to make amazing films. But, like, who the fuck cares? The little guys don't want that. I don't make games to make games. I make games because they're fun. I want people to experience fun. I want people to see my vision. People don't make animations because they want to make animations. They make animation to tell a story. They tell animation to, work and show something beautiful. I don't get that from writing a word on a screen. I don't get that from stealing artwork from other people. You're gonna sit here and tell me that writing words into a computer and popping out an animation is art? You're gonna tell me that's human? That's disgusting. It's awful. Sorry, I got a little bit heated there. But yeah. From then on, I just unsubscribed from Corridor Digital, which just kind of was a shame for me because I subscribed to them for like a decade or so. I've been with them for so long, but that was the part I just couldn't stand. The worst part is after all that happened, they got a lot of backlash, which good for them, good for the backlash. I like that people were not just gonna sit there and be like, oh, that's cool. No, people actually said some backlash about it, and their answer to it was just so immature. It was just that, oh, we're a VFX company. We're a VFX group. Of course we're going to see new technologies. And it's just like, no, you don't. You really don't. Like, it's that age-old quote again, or whatever. That age-old saying, it's like, we didn't stop to think if we could. We didn't stop to think if we should before doing it. Whatever. It's from that one Jurassic Park movie. I'm French. I don't care. You know what I'm saying. It was like, they didn't stop to think if they should. They knew they could, but they didn't stop to think if they should. And think about the morals of the thing. And it's just kind of a shame. I love Corridor Digital, but now I can't bear to watch their videos anymore just because of what they do. I stayed a little bit after, and like I just stayed a little bit to see if it wasn't just a fluke. Like, they are a VFX company. Maybe that was just like their one attempt at it. They saw what people thought and were just gonna stop. No, they just kept using AI. They do videos where they like do this very, very quick animated shots in like 2 days or something, and they would just use AI doing the entire thing. It was just kind of lame. I did not like those videos. And the worst part is, it's like, I know so many people were inspired to get into VFX and art because of Corridor Digital. So getting stabbed in the back through that, it's just awful, man. It's just awful. But yeah, I think I've been yapping for like 13 minutes. Jesus Christ, yeah. I think AI is just this really disappointing mess in the moment, and I'm hoping that people do something about it. I'm hoping people stand up for themselves and, stop consuming AI content. I mean, it's getting everywhere too, right? I'm not the only one who's seeing it. Like, every two like YouTube short or whatever the fuck is an AI content thing. It's an AI machine. They're just taking content that already exists and then putting it back on the internet, and they were just consuming it for some fucking reason. And I do think AI has its merits. I do think it can help in some places. Now, as a programmer, I think it is an amazing tool to start learning programming because I think the best way to describe AI is like, or at least text-based AI. Our AI I just do not give a shit about. But like text-based AI, it works as a really good encyclopedia because it scours the entire internet and gets you information. So I think for learning to code and all that stuff, or learning to write, I think it's a good tool. If you're looking for specific information, it's gonna give you that. If you want to check your code, you can just be like, hey, ChatGPT, tell me if my code's okay. And it'll just be like, hey, you made a mistake there or there or there. I think it is a great tool for learning to code and seeing your mistakes. But can it do it all on its own? Fuck no. God, no. He makes so many damn mistakes. It's so stupid. it's really stupid. But yeah, I think it does have its merits, but it's kind of a shame where instead of using it as a tool or developing it as a tool, people are using it as a complete replacement for artists as a general. And I just don't understand why we're doing this. And the worst part is, I'm a programmer. I think AI is cool on a technological standpoint. I think it is really interesting that we've gotten to the point where we're able to just do full artworks. I don't understand why we're just developing this, though. I don't understand what's the point of this. To replace artists? We're just going to end up with slop. Weren't we developing technology to deal with all the nuisance that we didn't want to deal with? Why is this a thing now? Why are we doing artwork with AI? That just seems really, what's the opposite of progressive? Unprogressive? Deprogressive? Whatever. It just seems like we're stepping back a little bit. I think we're just sort of running in the opposite direction of what we should be doing. Developing as a tool, developing it as something to help. Like, I don't know, there's so many ways we could use this properly, and we're just not. It's kind of a shame. Yeah. Oh my god, I've been talking for so long. Do I have anything else I want to say about this? I think I've talked pretty much all of it. I've gone around pretty much all the stuff I wanted to talk about. God, it is pretty cold. Also, I want to mention this is a very pretty spot where I live. I can't really show much of it since it is getting colder, and the forest and everything. But when it gets warmer, this is a really cool spot to hang out in. I didn't get to hang out here a lot this summer because I was working on stuff. I was working on necrosis and all that stuff. Oh, which, by the way, while I'm doing this, I might as well talk about what I'm working on lately. So some of you have been seeing these clips I've been doing. Necrosis Party. So this is it's a new little horror game I'm working on with my friends. Right now it's just me, but eventually I'll get my friends on a project. But yeah, it's essentially Lethal Company mixed with Death Row to Canada. So it's a little project I'm working on, and I've been posting a little bit every once in a while. I know I haven't posted I haven't posted there. I haven't posted on this channel any clips for a little bit, just because it turns out making online games is really fucking hard, especially Steam games. Because so I use Godot now, which it's pretty new, and it doesn't have a lot of functionalities when it comes to online. It does have LAN capabilities. Sorry. It does have LAN capabilities, but it hasn't been used for a huge online game yet. Or at least I haven't seen anything online that Godot has made. So I am probably one of the first ones to completely commit to it. And I'm using this library called Godot Steam to do it, which works fine. Still has a lot of bugs though. We've been getting a lot of errors whenever someone disconnects mid-game by just closing their windows. Everyone starts crashing. I think we've gotten that pretty much under control at the moment, but it still needs a bit of work. So, eventually it'll get fixed. Hopefully. But yeah, I've been working on that, and it's been pretty fun. It's definitely a lot more work than I expected, since, artwork and stuff. Turns out one of the main mechanics in the game is going to be limb detachment, where you can get hurt to a certain point where your limbs fall off. And originally this was I didn't think it was going to be that big of a deal because I could just flip the sprites around. Turns out I can't really do that when there's two arms because they both wear separate things, and it's just this kind of a really annoying system. But I've coded around it, and we're getting close to something that's playable. Right now, players are able to run around, they're able to talk, voice chat works. And right now I am working on implementing a phone, which whenever the player presses some button, I think it's going to be tab, phone will pop up and you'll be able to talk with people from far away. So essentially just a walkie-talkie from Lethal. But the one thing about Lethal that I don't like is that the walkie-talkie is it's this huge commitment because you have to waste 2 slots of the entire party's inventory. And when each party member only has 4 slots, that's a pretty big commitment, especially since one person who uses the walkie-talkie has to be inside the ship at all times, and that's just kind of lame because you don't get to go in and have the scares. So yeah, I want the phone and Necrosis to resolve that problem and allow the players to communicate while they're inside the building, while also having scares and having fun. But it's definitely a work in progress at the moment. Still very much working on it. Eventually though, it'll be pretty cool. I do get to do like pixel art stuff with that, so that's fun. I think the most interesting thing about Necrosis right now is that it's not pixel art, which all of my games up to this point have been pixel art, because something you probably notice is that a lot of indie games use the pixel art style, and that's because it is way easier to code for pixel art. It's way easier to account for pixel art, and you end up with a much nicer looking product in the end. It looks. The most important thing when you're working on a game is it's not the most important thing. I think gameplay is the most important thing, but when it comes to visual in a video game, I think it's very important that you keep your art style consistent, and that's something you don't see sometimes with newer projects. A good example of this, right, is something. It's important that you keep your art style consistent and you keep your art style unique, which you get easily with pixel art. Through pixel art, it's very easy to make a very unique art style. You just need to limit your palette and, draw them in your unique style. There are so many different ways to do pixel art well, and it's really hard to mess it up. But doing regular art, just doing regular art like I do, that's a whole other story. Like, you gotta get the offset right. It's way harder to animate. And it's very easy to lose the art style and do something that just doesn't look good because you use too many colors. And I think a good example of this is I recently just got my diploma from college. I am officially a game developer, or not game developer, computer scientist, same fucking thing. But yeah, I recently not graduated, but got my diploma. And my last semester at college, our job was to make a game, and that game ended up being Goal Scrapers, which out on Steam right now. Buy it right now. It's $4. Good deal. But yeah, that game just came out. But in that class, a lot of what I saw was project that didn't really have an art style. And because of that, they didn't look interesting to play. And that's the kind of the main problem when you're making a project like this. But to be fair, it was a class where they just asked us to make the game. They didn't really care about how it looked. That wasn't the important part. But still, I think a lot of the things that looked odd in those games were, first off, the feel of controlling the character, but also the art style. It just didn't stay very consistent, and it didn't really look interesting. So with Goal Scrapers, we picked a very specific art style, and we limited ourselves to a palette, so our game looked really unique and it looked professional. Which also, fun fact, I learned that Goal Scraper turned out to be the first game published while in that college. In that program, nobody has ever published one of their projects after college. They all went to work on something. Apparently, our team was the first one to actually publish our game that we made in that class, which I think is really fun. It's very impressive. I did not expect that. But yeah, a lot of other games, they lacked an art style, and that just kind of bit them in the ass whenever they wanted to go more with that. They wanted to make more. So I think an art style is very important, and that's when Necrosis is a much harder project when it comes to art style, just because there's so much more possibilities, and there's so many ways to fuck it up, especially in a horror context where it's if your game looks stupid, you're not going to scare anybody. And I'm hoping Necrosis does give a little bit of fear. I hope it gives a little bit of, horror aspect to it. I don't know if it is. Worst case scenario, it's going to be a fun Death for the Canada style multiplayer game, which I know everybody likes. But I hope that Necrosis is at least a little scary. I hope it gives off a little spooks, and I hope people are like, ooh, that's a little scary. Is that going to work? No idea. I'm not really a horror guy. If you've seen my art at all, you probably think that I don't even do anything horror related. I did recently draw something that was a little spooky. I did a Spherophobia 3, which is a collection of paintings illustrations, paintings, or whatever you want to call them. But yeah, I did Spherophobia 3, which is the third drawing in a collection of art where I take a real picture and then draw a horror character into it. And I'm very happy where it turned out this year. But yeah, I don't really do horror all that often. And I definitely have never done it in a gameplay stance. But yeah, hopefully that turns out well. Hopefully Necrosis gets done pretty quickly. I'm hoping it does well. It's definitely going to be weird for the Rabbit Hole fans, since Rabbit Hole was very character-based. I think a lot of people enjoyed Rabbit Hole due to the characters. Looking at your Rabbit Hole fan base. But yeah, a lot of Rabbit Hole fans, not Rabbit Hole fans, but a lot of Rabbit Hole was character-based, and so I think a lot of people latched on to that because of the characters. Necrosis doesn't really have that. All the characters are self-inserts. The whole point is that you're supposed to insert yourself as your character. You know, in Lethal Company, like, the employee is not really, or the intern, the employee, whatever. The employee is not a character. It's you. And it's kind of the same thing in Necrosis. So it's not going to be character-focused, and it's a horror game. And, like, unlike Rabbit Hole, which is not horror, it's very fun, it's very quick, very stupid. Necrosis is going to be a lot more horror, a lot more scary. Still a lot of fun. I do want to add a lot of funny moments. I mean, the main character, the Necrosis party as a whole, they're just very silly people. Currently our plot is like, oh, Texas turned into a hole and the world went to shit. And the Necrosis party is a bunch of people from Utah who are trying to get to Canada, but to have their map upside down, so they're going to Texas. That's our current plot. Is it good? No. But, you know, that's what we're going for right now. But it's not a lot for people to latch onto. So, yeah. It's going to be interesting. Hoping it gets done in, like, a couple of years. I'm hoping I don't take 3 years like Rabbit Hole. Rabbit Hole took a lot of time since, I'll start picking up my camera now. Yeah. Rabbit Hole took a lot of time because, specifically, the engine. It was Scratch, if you didn't know. Rabbit Hole is made in Scratch, and that is its biggest problem. If you've ever had lag, or the game crashed on you, or it just sucked, it was mostly just because it was made in Scratch. The difference now is that Necrosis is made in Godot, so it runs fucking buttery smooth in that shit. It is much better than Rabbit Hole in that instance. Look at this little pretty view. It's a really pretty place. But yeah. Hopefully Necrosis ends up being pretty good. I hope it does. I'll be working on it for a little while. And I've been doing this thing too where I've been getting more consistent with how I worked on it. With Rabbit Hole, it was just whenever I had free time, I would immediately work in Rabbit Hole, and I would get immediately burned out because of that. I mean, by the end of Rabbit Hole, you could probably tell I was just not interested in making anything more for it. I was tired of it. Just didn't work all that well. With Necrosis, I'm doing something different. This time around, what I'm doing is I'm working specifically only 5 days a week. Only. And at the end of the day, I stop working in Necrosis and I talk with friends. That way I have a little bit of a schedule going on and I don't overwork myself with Necrosis. Because I think as soon as I burned out, that's when the project it wasn't really fun for me anymore. As soon as I burnt out, it was just work until I'm done with it. Yep. Well, hopefully I keep that up for a while. I'm very happy with how it's turning out right now. Once I'm done with the phone, I'll upload a new clip showing off what we got going. And yeah, I think I'll leave that off now. I've been talking about a lot of things, and I give a little bit of a good update on what's working, what's going on. So yeah, I've been talking for 30 minutes. Jesus Christ. But yeah, this has been Sharky Cafe or Matt, or whatever you want to call me nowadays. And yeah, don't use AI for artwork. Make your own stuff. If you're an artist, make art. Ignore the AI artists. They're not. I feel kind of fucking sick for calling them artists, but yeah. Ignore AI. Make your own work. If you're a game developer, don't worry about AI. Make your own work. We're the soul of games. We're the soul of art, and that's probably never gonna go away. I don't think AI is ever gonna be able to take that away. Yeah. Believe in yourself. See ya.